Back then, you didn't have daycare after school, so I would walk from the elementary school up to the courthouse and just hang out till my mother would finish work. So I was all over the courthouse growing up. If there was a trial going on in the courtroom, I would just go in and sit and listen. Criminal cases, civil. I remember as a kid watching these lawyers really go at it in court, and then they'd leave and they'd walk out together, walking down the front steps of the courthouse, talking about going to lunch or shaking hands, and they were friends. And it was always seemed so inconsistent how they could be at war in one room and then walk out the door and be friends.
I was a chemistry major in undergraduate school. And I got my ideal job between my junior and senior year of college, working for Procter & Gamble. But I found out that on a good day, I would see 3 people. I see my supervisor, I see his supervisor, and I see the mail person. And I wouldn't see anyone else. And I started thinking, do I really want to spend the next 25, 35 years of my life being this isolated? And the answer was no. I decided I was going to look into applying for law school and decided to go to Duke. So the reason I applied to law school is not because some long dream of being a lawyer or going to law school. It's because I did not think I wanted to spend the rest of my career being in my own little lab with my own little lab equipment and seeing 2 or 3 people a day. I wanted a little bit more human contact than that.
I got deeply involved in the banking legal work, and over the next 10 years, we formed 101 bank holding companies all over the state and in some other states as well. We've had the opportunity to do everything to a bank you can do to a bank. We've started them. We've helped them during the process where they were closed by the regulators and represented the banks and their board of directors. We've helped them merge, we've helped them buy, we've helped them sell. So it's been a terrific opportunity for all these years to be a bank lawyer. And we're doing it today.
You've always been a trailblazer with being the first woman to do almost every position that you've had. How's that felt over the years?
I think the way it felt initially was that I had so much on my shoulders. I'll probably cry when I say this, but I felt like I had to do well, because I knew if I didn't, other women wouldn't have those opportunities.
I had 3 primary elections and 3 general elections, and I never had an opponent. And as a consequence, I never raised any money at all to expend on electioneering. I didn't campaign. I am a believer, obviously, in career prosecutors. I think that the public is served far better having someone who is well-trained and is kept up on the law by in-service training over the years, every year, and wants to be in that job forever.
Once you become a judge, you have to take your lawyer hat, your advocacy hat off, and learn how to listen. And while you may have listened as a lawyer to what your client said, you now have to listen to more than one side of the case. And you have to see through advocacy, and you have to apply fairness.
When we were in law school, there were more women in law school than there were women practicing attorneys. We really were the second wave of feminism, the status of women under the law and the status of women in the legal profession was something that needed attention, needed to change, could change, and some of the ways that it should change. And so that was a significant experience.
You know, when you do criminal work, you deal with the Constitution every day. It's a meaningful thing to think that you've got this 200-year-old document that you still apply every day.
Why has that been important to you for you to be active with the Tennessee Bar Foundation?
Well, it's an opportunity for me to see a lot of my friends from around the state, from Memphis to Bristol, that I don't get to see very often. And I enjoy getting to meet a lot of the new, young fellows that come into it. I think what the Bar Foundation is doing with their grant program is just phenomenal. That's why I think that the Bar Foundation, IOLTA, it was needed long before it happened, and I'm happy to support it. And I'm really delighted with what they do with the money.
If you order life's important decisions, a decision to follow God's teachings probably ranks one. I think selecting your spouse is at the top of the list. And the next one, I think, is choosing where you're going to spend your time in an employment career situation. And I'm very fortunate to have made those three good decisions. Now, that doesn't mean I have made plenty of bad ones, but those three have worked out pretty well.